Well, it's one of the most contentious debates that we've seen in recent days. Delhi's pollution levels, we know, are at extremely dangerous levels. And ever since Arvind Kejriwal announced the odd-even formula for cars on Delhi's roads from the 1st of January, there has been a lot of back and forth about whether that will work. Today, the AAP government announced some details of how they're going to make this work. Firstly, they've said it's going to be for 15 days. And in one major change, they've said that odd-numbered cars, for example, will only be allowed to be on the roads on odd dates. So, for instance, if your car ends with the number 3 and it's the 1st of January, you can take it out. And similarly, the same goes for even-numbered cars. Sundays are going to be exempt from this, but more details regarding exemptions are still being worked out. For instance, there's been a lot of talk about whether two-wheelers are going to be part of this and whether women drivers are going to be exempt. All of that still being worked out.
A crucial meeting to prepare the roadmap to fight pollution in the national capital. The Delhi government today announced that odd license number vehicles will operate on odd days of the week, that is the 1st, 3rd, 5th of Jan and so on. The opposite for even-numbered vehicles. This rule will be applicable Monday to Saturday from 8 am to 8 pm. There will be no restrictions on Sundays. Public transport will be strengthened by including contract buses which run on CNG. There are currently 9,000 such buses. Also, the thermal power plant at Badarpur will be shut down in 7 days. But like all rules, there will be exemptions too. Sources say that vehicles used by women is one such concern, and they may exempt vehicles which are carrying more than one woman. But other exemptions and penalties have still to be defined.
10 तारीख को माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी दोबारा समीक्षा बैठक करेंगे और ये जितने कंसर्निंग डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं इन्होंने जिनको सबको टास्क दिया गया उसकी रिव्यू हम लोग करेंगे. आफ्टर दैट आगे की सूचना आपको दी जाएगी.
And to figure out whether the experiment is a success, Delhi government will test air samples from 200 locations to decide the next course of action.
एक्चुअली अभी इतना ओवर क्राउडेड है पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड अगर आप ऑड और इवन वाला जो रूल है वो निकालेंगे तो और ज़्यादा ओवर क्राउडेड हो जाएगा.
देखिए, जब तक आप ट्राई नहीं करोगे वो सक्सेस है या वो फेलियर है आपको कैसे पता चलेगा?
It is too impractical. They should have worked out a better, strategy for this.
What about two-wheelers? Who will be exempted from these rules and what sort of penalties will be imposed on those who flout these rules? There are several significant decisions still to be taken by the Delhi government, and it seems that it will only be on the 25th of this month that a blueprint to tackle pollution in the national capital will be finalized. With camera person Kanun Patra reporting from Delhi, Tanima Biswas for NDTV.
Well, joining us on the program tonight, we have Ashutosh, spokesperson and senior leader of the Aam Aadmi Party. Samvit Patra still with us. We have Vivek Chattopadhyay from the Centre for Science and Environment here in the studio with us. And Sohail Seth, as a concerned citizen of the national capital, is with us as well. Let me first take this to Vivek Chattopadhyay. Vivek, you're the expert here. Do you think that we're ready to do this? Obviously, we have to do something drastic. But do you think that logistically and based on whatever you've heard today, that this is going to work?
Definitely this can work. And the kind of public transport network we have and variety of public transport systems that we have, if we deploy everything and in a best possible manner, I think this is going to work.
You're saying that also basically that it requires the cooperation of people to do this at the end
yes,
of the day.
Yes,
it's not going to work if the government has a danda,
yes,
right?
Yes, because people are sufferers of the air pollution. I think they are the contributors also, and they are suffering a lot because of air pollution. And Delhi's air pollution levels have reached so drastic levels that all the charts are actually showing that we cannot avoid this. I think this should have been done from today only, because very poor and severe categories noticed right now. An emergency response system, wherever you see in Beijing also, elsewhere also, it works from the day one when the pollution reaches very high level.
But the question is, the difference is, Ashutosh, and I've been saying, Ashutosh, for the last few days that we should at least give this a try and see how it works and then take a call on it, like Arvind Kejriwal has been saying. But Ashutosh, China, Beijing actually took 3 years to build the infrastructure and its public transport infrastructure in order to prepare for something like this. Is there some concern even within the AAP that Delhi may not necessarily be ready, that we could have a bit of chaos, more than a bit of chaos when the 1st of January comes? Ashutosh.
See, first of all, let me explain that this is not a a permanent solution. This is basically across the world, whether you go to the Costa Rica, Honduras, Santiago, or Tehran, Paris, Beijing, or Stockholm and London, there are n number of cities which try to implement this. This is basically an emergency provision, and this emergency provision has to be seen in that context. You have just given the reference of the Beijing, and I must tell you that Beijing 2008, when they're preparing for the Olympics, and the preparation was made long before for the public transport and other thing in the context of the Olympic, not in the context of the pollution. Secondly, let me also tell you in 2013, when the Beijing again tried to have these provisions, then experts within that particular city and outside, they had raised the concern that Beijing probably is not ready because the public transport system is not very good. The same thing happened in the San Jose in Costa Rica and other cities also. So it's a relative concept that whether the city is prepared with fully to take on these kind of situation. But after the Delhi High Court has clearly said that Delhi has turned into a gas chamber, and there is no other option than to implement it. And only right now it has been decided for 15 days. The several concerns which the people have raised, and I cite 4. 1, the medical reasons. 2nd, for the working women. 3rd, for the differently able persons. And 4th, about the school kids, the parents who do not send their kids through buses or auto rickshaws. And all these concerns will be taken care of. Today there had been a very successful meeting with the traffic police, with the DMRC and all the concerned stakeholders. And there is still enough time left, and I hope and I believe that this will be successful and will not be chaos on the road.
Ashutosh, are two-wheelers going to be part of this order or not? Or is that still not decided? Because that's also very key, isn't it?
See, as you remember, the 3-member committee, the Principal Secretary Traffic, Principal Secretary Environment and Revenue, this 3-member committee will talk to all the stakeholders, and finally this will come up with a final blueprint or the final proposals. The first step has been taken. The announcement has been made that from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So earlier the conception, the myth was created that this will be for 24 hours. That is not there. It's only between 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. At 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the Sunday has been exempted from this. Whatever will be other modalities and how the government is going to deal with that, that will come up only after a very thorough discussion, consultation, and only then those measures will be taken.
Okay, so Suhail Seth,
and every care will be taken care of.
Okay, so Suhail, shouldn't we give it a chance? Suhail, you live in this city, you travel a lot, you see the difference in the air that we're breathing here in Delhi. You can barely breathe anymore, and what it's like outside. Doesn't this call for a drastic emergency response, Suhail?
Firstly, of course it does. The situation in the NCR is alarming. Secondly, I'm glad that Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party have moved away from protest to some passionate governance issues. Having said that, you would need to be an Einstein, if not a C.V. Raman, to actually take your cars out on the basis of this principle. You know, odd numbers on odd days, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So here are some scenarios. If I leave my house at 7 a.m. and I come back at 9 p.m., what happens? Number 2, the Delhi government doesn't control National Capital Region. Half the Johnnies who are flowing in from Haryana and from Noida, what happens to them? Their cars. Number 3, do you generally believe that the policeman on the street is going to be as vigilant? What happens if you're in an odd car on an even day and you have to turn around in the middle? I mean, let's think these things through. So here's my solution. I'm not being cynical. The solution is as follows. Number 1, great move by Arvind Kejriwal to recognize we have a problem. But don't make it a situation where operation successful, patient dead. These are the things we need to do. Number 1, we need to come down very heavily on the truck movement into the National Capital Region. Number 2, we need to include two-wheelers and stop playing populist politics. Number 3, we need to encourage citizens to pool. You know, half these cities that Ashutosh mentioned don't have this problem. He erroneously mentioned Paris and London. London has a congestion charge for central London. Don't confuse apples with oranges. So let's get back to the basics. We need controls on pollution. We need to shut down power plants which are in the center of the city. There's another incinerator in Okhla, which spews stuff. Having said that, and please do not misjudge what I'm about to say, we have allowed people, and this is the fault of each one of us. I'm equally responsible as a citizen. We haven't provided our homeless with shelters, which results in burning wood, coal, newspapers during winter. And it's sad. And that also adds to the pollution. We need to create a citizen vigilance movement, which I have to say, you have to give credit to Kejriwal where it's due. So these things have happened. I'm glad that Kejriwal has put smog on the discussion table, which needed to be done, which, by the way, was not happening for many, many years. But now we need robust solutions because, Nidhi, we are Indians. On January 15, you guys on every news channel will discuss, see, we told you it would never work. That will then kill all potential solutions. So I'm saying, take your time, work out feasible solutions, create and energize citizens, encourage school children to take the lead. They are better peer, they have better pressure.
Those are fair points. And
then go right ahead with all our support. And we will support you. This is the one thing I will support Aam Aadmi Party on,
which I was asking the BJP
else.
yesterday as well.
Ashutosh, I hope you're happy.
No, I'll come to Ashutosh in a second. Sambit, the question I was asking the BJP yesterday was that given this emergency situation we have in Delhi, isn't this the time to put politics aside and work together with the Delhi government so that the centre and the state can actually find proper solutions? Isn't that what we need right now, desperately, in Delhi?
See, certain debates, in fact, should be academic debates and they should not be seen with the political light. And I believe this is one such debate. Pollution should never be political. Pollution should always be seen with a scientific bent of mind. But as far as this declaration of odd number and even number is concerned, well, yes, it's a move to curb pollution. We should not oppose it politically. But there are certain suggestions which we would surely like to make. I have been hearing Mr. Ashutosh, in fact, the day when I participated with him on some debates. And I gather that the preparations are not yet over. My point of contention is declaration should have come after the preparation. Over here, just the opposite has happened. The declaration has been made, but the preparations are not over. Secondly, most of the countries that Mr. Ashutosh suggested, Honduras, Rio de Janeiro, and all these countries have a different demography, a different kind of functioning than what India and particularly the national capital region has. It's absolutely crowded. It's a different way of functioning over here in Delhi. And thirdly, and very importantly, how is our public transport system functioning? Let me give you an example. In Beijing and in Paris as well, Paris went for this kind of stuff for one day, whereas Beijing went for 22 days for the Olympics. During that tenure, mostly the public transport system was made free. It was free of cost for people to travel because they felt that public transport should be very strong. Is the Delhi government going to do something like this? Is it going to be free or is it going to be subsidized? Number one. Number two is, as most of the places which have this kind of road rationing, they have, the concession is meant for the diseased and disabled. If someone has a heart attack, he or she is not going to calculate an even car or an odd car. That has to be allowed to anyone. Secondly, a pregnant woman, a labor pain, she is not going to see an even car or an odd car. Thirdly, the last mile connectivity. The last mile connectivity is very important. Well, yes, the public transport system may be available till approximately a mile from my house. But what happens in the last mile of my house is of paramount importance. Because that's where the safety concern comes to play.